Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ippolito Castellani Tarabini. I am a senior economist at Capital Economics with prior experience in economic consultancy and at the European Central Bank. Over the past 5 years, I've led numerous economic impact assessments and policy-facing reports, as well as a team of talented economists that worked on this study as well. And I'm delighted to be here to present to you in the next 15 minutes or so the findings on a study that we conducted on the economic footprint of the intelligent transport system sector in the UK economy. Before I start, though, I would like to thank Max and the whole ITS UK team for having invited me here today. The presentation is structured as follows. I will start with a brief description of the objectives, then move on to how we defined the ITS sector for the purposes of the study. I will then briefly speak about the international evidence on the wider benefits of ITS technologies before delving into the core of the study, which is the economic contribution of the ITS sector to the UK economy. Let me start with what we set out to do. We had 3 core objectives. So the first one was to provide a workable definition of the intelligent transport system sector. The second one was to quantify the sector's contribution to the economy using robust and transparent methodologies. And third, the third objective was to clearly map the channels of these impacts. So this study is an important study because it brings credible and new evidence on the size of the sector. Indeed, the previous estimate, as Max mentioned, that the sector's turnover was around £1.5 billion, clearly understated the true size of ITS, as I am about to show you. Also, this is the first comprehensive evidence-based assessment of the economic contribution of the UK's intelligent transport system sector. Crucially, our work brings hard evidence to a conversation that has too often been driven by anecdotes. And it shows that ITS is not just a niche technology segment, but as you all know, it brings a high-value contribution to the UK economy that supports a large number of quality jobs across the country. So we really see our work as providing the foundation for meaningful and data-driven dialogue between industry players, central government bodies, and local authorities. So we started collaborating with Max and the wider ITS UK team more than a year ago. For those who don't know us, Capital Economics is a macroeconomic consultancy firm based in London, but with offices around the world. For more than 25 years, we've been producing macroeconomic analysis and forecasts for the world's major economies and less major economies too, as well as major asset classes. We in the consultancy team at Capital Economics have a strong track record in delivering robust economic impact assessments with industry bodies, corporates, and public institutions coming to us for evidence-based analysis. So this is the context of our collaboration with the ITS UK. Having finished with this little 15-second self-promotion moment, let's go back to intelligent transport systems. So over the past decades, I should say, the intelligent transport system sector has grown rapidly across multiple segments, driven by technological advances, emerging applications, and new applications. And it is precisely this fast-changing nature of the sector that makes it hard to define and measure accurately. So the Office for National Statistics does not produce official statistics on the sector, as ITS activities span a large number of economic sectors that it already covers. It also doesn't help that the last update of the UK's standard industrial classification framework, which is what the Office for National Statistics uses to categorize economic activity, was done in 2007, so truly ages ago. This is why even before starting to think about its economic impact, we first had to come up with a workable definition of the ITS sector that would allow us to capture the breadth of sectors and players involved. So after conversations with Max and ITS UK's advisory group, we decided that the best approach was to define the intelligent transport system sector based on the services and products that it delivers. So we broke this down into 3 main categories. Number one is infrastructure, assets, and operations. So this is the foundational layer. It includes activities around the operation, maintenance, and optimization of the physical and digital assets that allow transport networks to work. Includes things like traffic signals, monitoring and enforcement technologies, electric vehicle charging points, digital twin technologies, predictive maintenance, a lot of other things that I cannot mention, otherwise I will go way over time. The second category is connectivity and technology integration. So this is the digital backbone of the sector. It's really the glue that allows vehicles, infrastructure, and operators to talk to each other. It includes applications and technologies such as Internet of Things sensors, cloud platforms, telematics, navigation systems, and more generally, all the technologies that allow for vehicle to infrastructure communication. Third, we have user-centric services and technologies. So this is probably where users feel ITS more directly, where it's most visible. Journey planning, ticketing, mobility as a service platforms, on-demand mobility. Essentially, all the technologies and applications that shape user experience, prioritize personalized mobility, and promote a seamless travel experience. Now, together, these three categories form a multidisciplinary sector that doesn't fit neatly into traditional industrial sectors, in traditional industrial classification, sorry. So now that we've defined the sector, let's move on to the benefits. So across the three categories that I just described, ITS delivers wider benefits to society in 6 major areas. Now, I won't dwell too long on these as they aren't the core of the study, but it's still important to emphasize that the benefits of ITS go far beyond their economic contribution. So first, we have safety. Applications like real-time monitoring, collision avoidance, automated alerts help prevent accidents and make roads safer. Second, we have traffic efficiency. So applications like adaptive signals, congestion monitoring, cut delays, improve travel times, and make better use of existing infrastructure. Third, we have environmental benefits. So by easing congestion, ITS technologies reduce fuel use and cut emissions. The sector also supports electric vehicle integration through smart charging and better grid management, and in this way accelerating the transition to cleaner transport. Another benefits of ITS is the economic value. So put very simply, less congestion and fewer accidents, lower costs for businesses and individuals, boosting overall productivity. ITS also deliver a better travel experience for users with real-time information and integrated mobility, making journeys smoother and more predictable. And finally, data. So ITS generate valuable data that can be used by both researchers and policymakers to make more informed and better decisions on how to improve transport networks. Now, these broader benefits paint a clear picture of why ITS matters and how it improves quality of life. But to quantify the sector's footprint across jobs, economic activity, and taxes, we need to turn to a more structured economic impact assessment. So before we get into the numbers, I want to briefly walk you through how we did that, and specifically how we actually built the evidence case for this study. So we used a mixed approach because no single data source can capture the ITS sector on its own. And this mixed approach can be broadly split in 3 steps. So first, we gathered evidence, direct evidence from the industry itself. So we ran a survey of ITS UK members. Again, big thank you to everyone who took part. So the survey allowed us to collect primary data on revenues, business activities, and specific information on the share of organizations' work that genuinely relates to intelligent transport system. So this is particularly important because, as we know, for many organizations, especially large, diversified ones with global operations, ITS can be a small part of the global operations. Second, we carried out a structured analysis of annual reports, filings from Companies House, and other public financial information to validate the information we gathered through the survey, fill data gaps, and more generally build a consistent and comparable revenue picture across the 80-odd organizations that we included in the study. To ensure that the final revenue estimates were realistic and appropriately conservative, we supplemented this analysis with expert insights from ITS UK members. So we estimated that ITS-related revenue in 2024 was 3.1 billion pounds. That's billion with a B, and it's more than double what had been previously estimated. The third step of the exercise was to translate these revenue estimates into economic impact. We did this by using a UK input-output model, which is a standard economic tool used by governments, industry, and researchers. Essentially, think of it as a way of tracing how spending in one part of the economy creates ripple effects in the rest of the economy. And this framework also allowed us to separate out the effects across geographies and standard economic sectors. Having said all of this, let's look at finally the numbers. So in 2024, we estimate that the UK ITS sector supported 3.2 billion pounds in gross value added and close to 45,000 jobs. Now we can break that down in three layers. The first one is the direct impact. So ITS-related activities directly support 22,000 jobs across the country and directly generate 1.6 billion pounds in gross value added. Second, we have indirect effects. So organizations in the ITS sector spend money to procure goods and services as inputs to their ITS-related activities, boosting the income of their suppliers, who in turn spend part of that income on their own suppliers. So this channel is known as the indirect effect, and our estimates showed that in 2024, the ITS sector indirectly supported 13,000 jobs across the country and 900 million pounds in economic activity. Third, we have induced effects. These capture the impact of spending of ITS employees, as well as employees in supply chains whose jobs are supported by ITS spending. So this type of spending supported 9,000 jobs and 700 million pounds in gross value added. So we've established that the ITS sector supported more than 3 billion pounds in gross value added and 45,000 jobs nationally. But how are those impacts felt across the UK regions? Well, the short answer is that the economic contribution is widely distributed across the country. So London is the single largest hub with over 10,000 jobs supported, reflecting its concentration of transport technology, professional services, and headquarter functions. But this is by all means not just a London story. Indeed, significant activity is supported across every nation and region. We have, for example, 5,000 jobs supported here in the Northwest, in the Southeast, and the Southwest in each of these regions. On the gross value added front, the pattern is similar, with the ITS sector supporting more than 700 million pounds in gross value added in London and over 300 million in the Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, and West Midlands. But even in regions where the impact is somewhat smaller, we're still talking about at least 100 million in gross value added supported and thousands of jobs. Now, in addition to the jobs and activity that it supports, the ITS sector supports more than 500 million pounds in taxes each year for the Exchequer. And this excludes business taxes and taxes on profits. So this 500 million essentially includes employee-related taxes, so income tax and national insurance contributions paid from jobs supported by the sector, and value-added tax linked to employee spending. So we've talked about the overall impact of the ITS sector, as well as its footprint around the country. But which economic sectors benefit the most? Well, the two sectors that stand out in terms of jobs supported are information and communication technology and professional services. Together, they account for close to half of all the jobs supported by the ITS sector. This is perhaps unsurprising, as ITS is both technology intensive and service heavy. So it naturally drives demand for things like software, data services, as well as engineering, consulting, and related roles. But if you look closely at the chart, you will also see other sectors appear, for example, manufacturing. So this reflects the hardware side of ITS, the physical components and devices required for roadside infrastructure, enforcement technologies, EV charging points, and so on. Here, the economic impacts come directly and indirectly through supply chain spending. Another sector I would quickly like to draw your attention to is wholesale and retail. Here, the jobs supported are by and large driven by the induced effect. So that is the spending of ITS employees and the employees whose jobs are supported by the ITS industry. Overall, the key takeaway from the sectoral analysis is that it is clear how the breadth of applications and activities of the ITS sector mean that it materially supports jobs and economic activity across a number of economic sectors. To wrap up, I started this presentation by defining the ITS sector. Then I looked at the wider benefits it delivers, so safer roads, smoother journeys, cleaner air. And finally, I discussed the framework we use to quantify its economic footprint across the UK. Our conservative estimates that the turnover of the ITS sector was over £3 billion in 2024. That's more than twice the previous estimate. And this revenue in turn supports more than 3.2 billion pounds in gross value added and around 45,000 jobs across the country every year. ITS also supports over 500 million in employee-related and consumption taxes. So the study probably confirms something all of you already knew, which is that the benefits of ITS are real and that its economic footprint is both national and significant. But now, thanks to the study, we have the numbers to prove it. Thank you for your attention. I will be around after for any questions or anything macro. Thank you.